You might recognise the jelly bean switch. It's probably the most sold more jelly bean switches than anything else. Nice big target area, reliable. You can bash it, you can press it gently. It's a light touch. The spec switch is the little brother, and that's from the same company. Sort of same technology inside the switch. It's just a nice small surface area. Comes with a Velcro strap. This is really great on wheelchairs. You can strap that on if you've got someone using a joystick on a wheelchair. You can have this just on the side of the armrest or whatever. A simple click on that. They're two of the most common switches we sell. There's even smaller, it's a little mini cup switch. Can fit into all sorts of places, and the microlight switch is really sensitive. For people that are needing something specialised, where they're having trouble actually, maybe with hand movement, if they're, got extremely limited movement, we have puff switch. It's just a simple tube that you can puff on the tube, and that will trigger the switch output. And I've got a buzzer over there. Typically that'd be in another room where I can, if I'm in my bed at night and I need help, I can buzz my mum or whoever's looking after me, carer. Okay, so two switches in the one tube can be really handy. I've got it around my neck there. That was just something we discovered with this stuff. You can it makes a really good neck mount. You can also have this stuff mounted on one of these arms. Say that could be clamped on a bed rail on the side of the bed, and this could be set up close to the person in bed. A lot of people don't necessarily like having stuff around their face. And yeah, so we have like click type switches you can touch as well. As a matter of fact, there's this magic wand switch here. Just have to make contact on that. Someone with MS or motor neuron, where they're really limited in movement, almost down to we're looking for eye blinks or whatever, you can get this, just the tiniest movement can trigger it. Then again, if you're in bed, and I've got to bump it to set it off, so you can get false alarms, whereas a puff switch tube, you can have that close by, and if you bump it, it doesn't do anything unless you actually puff on it. So that's, yeah. Some of the other fancy switches we've got are a wave switch. I've just got to wave my hand over that. You need a gross movement to go in and out of the beam, but you don't need to be accurate at all. So if that can be just positioned where someone can just wave their hand, you can trigger that. It might be difficult to do a scanning thing where with the scanning you have to get the timing just exactly right to click it when it's on the right icon. But if it's just, say, calling for help, you could wave your hand and the buzzer goes off, sort of thing. Matter of fact, I could do that. Liz, can I interrupt you? Just to wave your hand over the box, and it doesn't work, Liz. A bit longer. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. A sound switch is another one. It's got a microphone, and when you make a noise, it triggers. You can set it up to have an extended sound, because if you've got noises and people talking, you don't want the buzzer to go off all the time. But you can set it there. It seems to be set for a sound length of about 4 or 5 seconds, and then it'll trigger the buzzer. So that way you don't get false alarms every time someone speaks or slams a door or that sort of thing. Yeah, you can adjust the sensitivity, so how loud the sound needs to be, and you can adjust the time length that the sound needs to be. And lastly, in the clever switches brigade, we have the balloon switch. And again, you can adjust the sensitivity to, if you have a feel of how gently you can squeeze that. And it has the advantage that because it's compressing the whole volume of air inside the balloon, like if you press with one finger, you'd have to press reasonably hard, but if you spread the load over pressing with all 4 fingers, they hardly have to move at all, and they're also sharing the load. So if you had someone that was extremely weak, they could still work the balloon switch. maybe you could set up this in the same sort of position. And look, if that would work, it can be a lot better because there's no batteries and electronics involved. If you can use a mechanical switch, there's less to go wrong. So yeah, it's often our preference to start with a mechanical switch, and if they can work that, that's great. Likewise, the electronic wand. It's just a matter of that one. You'd need to we can mount that on the end of this arm, and position it exactly right, and touching it will trigger it. Whereas the balloon switch doesn't require any mounting; it can just lay in their hand. But then again, if they move a bit and it falls out of their hand, then they can't get to it at all. So yeah, they're the challenges we faced. Yeah. So that's a rundown on switch. Any other questions on switches? Something I haven't really mentioned much is mounting, and we do have all these different weird mounts. These are the RAM mounts, which are normally we sell for phones and tablets, but we also mount switches on these as well. So just as important as finding the right switch is finding a mount that's going to make it reliable. And if they want to access it in their wheelchair as well as in bed or whatever, then you need to find a switch and a mount that will work in both situations. You'll see on our website there's just a whole plethora of mounts on there. And if you see one on the website that's got a phone attached to it, bear in mind that you could attach a puff switch to it or a jelly bean switch to it or whatever, and so we can sort of accommodate. We put together all these jigsaw puzzles of different mounts and switches.